Okay, another shootout. On the left, we've got a Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Edge, which is their Copilot PC, or one of their Copilot PCs, with the Snapdragon X Elite, 16 gigs of RAM. And similarly spec'd on the right, we've got the Surface Laptop 7, same processor, Snapdragon, it's a 12-core Snapdragon X Elite, 16 gigs of RAM. Now, what I do notice, and perhaps you might get a hint at, is the OLED display on the Samsung does look better than the Surface laptop, which is interesting. I've not picked up on that before. I've used, I like Surface laptops, but seeing the two together, I do like the Samsung display, although I do like the extra size 15-inch Surface laptop as opposed to the 14-inch Samsung. Anyway, I am starting to waffle. Let's set these up and let's kick them off and see how we get on. So the first reason I give you will be the Samsung on the left, and the second will be the Surface Laptop 7 on the right, and its percentage of processing power as determined by ImageLine, who are the makers of this DAW, which is FL Studio. Here we go. So off the blocks, we've got 13% versus 13%, so neck and neck. Still 13% versus 15% on the right, so the Surface laptop reporting it's having to use more of its processing power at that point in time, although not much in it. 14% now versus 15%, 14% versus 15%, jumping back to 14% and between 14% and 15% on the Surface laptop. Now, I normally find that when it gets to the louder section, as I call it, or the faster section, which requires more processing, that's really where we get the better readings and where changes are more pronounced. I'd expect these to be very similar in terms of performance. They have the same amount of RAM and same processor. 12% versus 14%. Going into the fast section now, we've got 20% versus 23%. 21% versus 24%. So the Surface laptop telling me that it's having to work a little bit harder. 20% versus 22%. And here we go, we're into the faster section. We've got a little bit out of sync, which does happen sometimes. 26% versus 28%. 26% versus 29%. Let's wait for a change. 27% versus 29%, 28% versus 31%, 28% versus 32%, 28% versus 30%. Let's call it a day there. I'm going to declare the Samsung Edge 4 the winner by a slight margin. Surprising, they've got similar specs. The Surface laptop I always consider to be top in terms of the quality tree for laptops these days. Although, as I say, the screen on the Samsung looks nicer to me at this point in time. I don't know what it looks like to you. You're looking through a different screen. I'm looking at the actual thing and I'm starting to babble already. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, give it a like. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.